What did you think about the character your team showed? How important was it that you got the result today?
Well, massive. To come on the first fixture to Old Trafford with that atmosphere, the way they are building momentum with the new signings and the excitement around it is top. I mean, it's a great feeling. Then we have to be really humble about the way we did it. And we did it, one, because we put a magnificent set piece in, and after, because the way we reacted to mistake. To enforce mistakes and mistakes that are very far from the standards that we normally have, and we constantly reacted to that in a really positive way. And that's the reason why we had the opportunity to win the game.
Okay, so for your best level, far too many mistakes, but the reactions to those mistakes got you the result.
As we're talking about character and spirit, that's it. I'm not having the best day from the first action. I can make a mistake. How do I react to that? And it wasn't one, it was many players that acted, because there are many moments that, I mean, in open space, we should have killed them. And after they went the other way, immediately catching us in the back foot, the way everybody tracked, the way everybody defends, it was phenomenal.
So you scored with your first corner of the season. We know you're always a threat from set pieces, but it looks like you've worked hard on them over pre-season, a slightly different setup it looked like?
Yeah, in many ways we have changed and evolved certain things that obviously we don't want to make it unpredictable for the opposition, and it pays the price. At the end, the games are won in both boxes, and that's what we've done today.
Do you think today, with the expectation that's on you, that was a huge moment? I know it maybe sounds a bit odd to ask it after one game, but with United and the games you got to follow, you know, narratives around big clubs can build quickly.
Yeah, and it is, and it says a lot, because I just look at the players' faces and they want much more, and we know that we are much better than certain moments the way we played. I think before I came here it was 18 or 22 years without winning at Old Trafford, and now we come here, we won many times and still unsatisfied, and I take that as a massive compliment and as a way to build what we want to build.
What needs to be better?
There's a lot of aspects, I think, especially the way we started the game with duels, with 50-50 actions, with simple giveaways after regaining the ball. We need to be very careful against a team that has the speed, the ability in the front line to threat you that way. We need to be very careful with that.
Lastly then, what did you make of your new boys, Zubimendi, Gyökeres, the two that started the game?
Well, very happy with them, the ones that they come in as well. I think they had a massive impact in the game. We need to glide them together. Some of them physically still, they're not at the highest level or the way that we need to get. We'll get there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Satisfying victory for Mikel Arteta, but an admittance that they're not at their best at this stage of the season. Have they almost, Daniel, got to learn how to use Victor Gyökeres at the top of the pitch?
I think so, yes. I really do. Why? Because when you are an attacker who's, you know, used to doing certain actions, and I think Saka is used to playing a certain way and doing specific types of things. Likewise, the player on the left wing, and they've been playing with a striker in Havertz who's very different to Gyökeres. It does take time to get used to that player's runs. He's going to have to also alter his game. It's not just about the team changing for him, it's about him changing for the team also, and understanding how he's going to perform best. The manager's going to have to implement certain things on the training pitch. He's going to have personal conversations, and that's what it takes for you to hit the ground running.
So how did you adapt your game when you went from different clubs, from Man City to Bolton to Chelsea to Liverpool?
I think it's, again, the conversations, understanding who you're playing with. So, for instance, when I was at Chelsea, I was playing on the wing. So I knew Didier would like certain types of passes or crosses, and Torres was different to him, so I had to play different with Torres. And Anelka would be different, and maybe you could change positions with Nico a little bit. Likewise, when you talk about Bolton, I was up front with Kevin Davis, so flick-ons, okay, cool, I'm big man, little man vibe today. You know, old school, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you go to Liverpool, where it was me and Louis to start with, and again, it's like you're both almost playing in a split strikers thing. I view it as Gyökeres is used to playing a specific way with Sporting Lisbon. He's throughout his career, I think he's a traditional centre forward who's going to make runs in behind. He's a strong player. He's got pace. He's powerful, and his game is predicated on that power and those first yards of making a run to get himself in a position to get a shot off.
And he missed a lot of pre-season, didn't he? He did miss a chunk of pre-season with all the transfer speculation. I don't think he was training. So you're thinking not a few more games, he might get up.
He didn't look sharp today.
Yeah, he didn't.
We can show you his touch map, and this maybe, Micah, suggests that he and Arsenal are some way from unlocking his real potential. I think we've got 3 touches in the opposition box, and for context, I think Šeško coming on late in the game actually had 4 touches in the opposition box. And just to add on Gyökeres, it's the first time in a league game since he left Coventry that he's not actually had a shot at a game.
Yeah, I think Roy mentioned it. He's come back late pre-season. You'd like these touch maps to be a little bit better, but do you expect someone to be the sharpest on the first game of the season? Danny makes a great point about how to adapt to the team. I think he's a striker where he plays with wing backs and he just makes that run. I think Arsenal, the way they want to play that intricacies through the mid block and then Havertz getting on the ball and all them sort of things. But today he just looked a little bit frustrated. And that was not just Arsenal. I think it's because when Man United at times last season, they was dropping off. But Luke Shaw was engaging, really tight. He knew exactly what he had to do. I thought Euro was good for a young player as well, reading the game, reading situations. And I thought the atmosphere was just a lot for him today. I think it'll be different once he goes to the Emirates and he's got the home team behind him.
Leeds United next week. He'll be looking forward to that.
Of course. And he struggled today, but we didn't expect him to be at his best today anyway, you know?
This is the start that we've referenced a couple of times, that Mikel Arteta's side. Yes, a new promoted team next week in their first home game, but then after that, before the international break, away to Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, who looked good today and it made it very difficult for top sides last season, then City, then away to Newcastle, where they lost last season, have found it tough in recent seasons. But will they look at those differently because of the fact they've got off to a winning start here?
Yeah, and listen, it's tough. Most teams have difficult starts. You can't look at any game and think it's going to be easy. But from Arsenal's point of view, the sign of a really good team is when you're not at your best to win football matches. The worry for me a little bit in the second half, and the manager mentioned it there, is that there were opportunities to really go at United, and it was just we're not about difficult passes, sometimes just a simple pass or a simple run. They seemed awful from that point of view. But if you can win when you're not at your best, then that's a big plus. But going forward, when you're competing, you're trying to compete now with the likes of, obviously, we see Liverpool and Man City, they seem to have that more of a, they want to go for that second goal or that third goal, whereas Arsenal are still a bit, we got 1-0, we maybe hold on to it. And that kind of backfired a little bit last year when, we go back to it, they had too many draws. And too many draws won't win you league titles. And that's where they have to improve. So when we see them next week, if they're 1-0 up against Leeds, that they're really clinical. And obviously, Leeds at home is a different animal to Man United away, no doubt, as much as United are struggling. So I think Arsenal will need to find that, and we didn't see it today, and that's the first day of the season, to be really clinical in their play and really go for the second and third goal. Don't be hanging back and thinking we'll hold on. They've done that last year and it cost them.
I think that they need to score different types of goals to take the next step. More penetrative passes in the central areas, which in turn will give Gyökeres more opportunities to score goals. I think a lot of the goals he will end up scoring will be goals like Haaland scores, which is one-touch finishes in the box, crosses coming in, headers, poaching in the 6-yard box. I think he also thrives off of, similar to Haaland does though, in that those penetrative passes around the box, which is going to give him the chance to make that burst over a few yards to get his shots away.
And will Zubimendi help with that as well, when he's got a bit more time and a bit more space?
For sure.
Yeah, well, they scored a goal exactly like that in pre-season, where it was cut back, it went out wide, it come back to Zubimendi, first time cross, and Gyökeres was there to head it in. So it was just about building.
And when you're a big, strong man like that and you do miss pre-season, sometimes for the bigger lads who are big units, and he's a big, strong boy, he's like an old-fashioned striker, you definitely need a bit more time to kind of get up to speed. Sometimes the slider lads are a bit sharper up here, but for the big lads, it just takes a bit longer to get back.
Manchester United point of view, as you've pointed out, Michael, very frustrating. 13 minutes into the brand new season, such a simple way to concede what has turned out to be the winning goal.
Yeah, I think, like you say, it's just so simple. I mean, Arsenal have not had to do a great deal. Yeah, there's a little bit of pressure on him, he's off backing in. But the worrying for me is that Saliba moves the goalkeeper. You know, that's his zone. He's got to boss that 3-4 yards out, really, and he's got to be moving Saliba, really, and he gets moved, and then he's off balance, he's in a weak position, he can't get any contact on it. It's just so simple and straightforward, really, and a kind of deflating one to concede so early on.
For me, he ends up having the battle with Saliba too late. The ball's already on flight, and he's trying to battle now. That's when a keeper, you've got to do your work early, have the battle early doors, make sure you're dominant, and then when the ball's coming in the air, you've got to be in a position then to go and make an intent and go and punch it or whatever. Look, he's too late. He's got to step away then. The ball's already in flight. Now, look, he's on his own. He's trying to fight him now, and that ball's delivered.
I'd like to see him bouncing on his toes. If you look at his feet, he's almost flat, and his body is kind of dead. You know, if you're on your toes, your body's primed and it's ready to spring. And he's a bit kind of passive, really.
He's got to do as well, Mike. He's got to be trying to get himself around Saliba so as he can get to the ball first. He's got his hands.
Got to be active, haven't you?
Yeah, you've got to be hands. So he's waiting, and then he's trying to punch it with the wrong hand.
If anyone goes in that 6-yard box, the keepers I've played with, back in the day, there was things that were happening because of VAR they wouldn't do now. There's a few keepers I played with would stamp on their toes and things like that. Can't do it nowadays. But that is your area. You've got to dominate. Domain. That's your domain. That's your area. Look, there's no way he's getting bossed completely, Ian. But he's having the battle, the physical battle, as the ball's coming in. And he's got to step away so that he gets a little bit of a run-up, a two-step, and then he can punch that ball. But he's not. He's battling. He's having a fight. And the rest,
kind of gets surprised by it, probably.
Yeah.
He should be looking for it, knowing it's coming, and actually him being the one that's the proactive one, and, like you said, being elusive so he can come and get it. But he looks like he's surprised by the contact, and then he's fighting a losing battle after that.
The big problem you've got now, you've left Onana out. We've seen Onana make so many mistakes. The manager already this game has got a goalkeeping problem after one game, because people are seeing that now. The defence are knowing that he hasn't dealt with it. The keeper himself has got to do what I call re-editing in his mind in some sort of way, that the next game that he's gonna learn from that and be better. But you've got a weakness already. As well as United, as well as I think they deserved at least a draw out the game, and there were some really good things, but they've got a really major problem already after one match.
Yeah, well, Arsenal have done their homework clearly, because he had an issue in the League Cup tie at Tottenham last season in a very similar situation, and they've said let's test him early on.
I think if Onana was in goal, they'd do the same, because you know the delivery from Arsenal is very good. There's a lot of bodies around. I even think that William Saliba, where I remember there was a time last season, the season before, Ben White would be really amongst the goalkeeper to the point where you're thinking, Ben, get away from him a bit. But I think that William Saliba is really passive. And the goalkeeper, I think that to the point where the goalkeeper can move him, like you're saying, Mike, so as he could get to the ball. So I just think that the ball's a great ball in. I think the goalkeeper's got himself in all sorts of problems. And for a start, he gets himself in a position where he can't even punch it with his strong hand. But it was a good ball in. It was a great ball in.
Yeah. And then did we see David Raya in a similar situation almost show Bayern there what he should be doing?
Well, again, you can look at the situation. You know, you can see they're going to put the ball into an area where, look, there's players around him, but watch what he does. He gets himself into a situation. Watch him now. Watch, bang, where he's on his, like you're saying, Mike, he's on his toe. Watch him there. Look, bang, on his toes, off his feet, seeing the ball, punching it away with his strong hand.
Yeah, I think when you go to the early shot there and you see him bouncing, your body language for me tells me what's going on in your head. You know, if you're dead and your body's dead and you're a bit flat and you're almost slightly switched off, he was bouncing, he was almost looking forward. Like we said at the start a little bit about embracing the challenge. Yeah. You've got to embrace centre half, you're defending your box, goalkeeper, you've got to think, this is me, I'm having a bit of this is me. And embrace that. And don't be a little bit waiting to see what's going to happen. You've got to go make it happen. I just thought the body language between the two almost took on the challenge, and one clears it, one doesn't, and that, in the end, that's the game that we're sat here talking about.
Yeah, and that's the fine margin sometimes in these games.
Oh, very much so, and that's why Arsenal have been brilliant from set plays last season and this start off this season. The difference is when you score from set plays, however it's from corners, when they come from the back post, or this time bodies in the 6-yard box, you get a belief about yourself. You go into that box believing you're going to score. All them centre-backs going up, I'm going to be the one scoring. The strikers, obviously, they've worked at different situations, different scenarios, using the body, putting the goalie under pressure. There's a little run, the two little runs that we didn't talk about on the edge of the box. There's a little plan going there where he could have pulled it back, and I think Ødegaard was ready to shoot. So that's another little plan that they got. But they have this belief. They say, now we're going to score again. And at the end of the day, that has been the difference between the 3 points. Because United, you can't tell me United weren't a better team on the day. They probably created a little bit more than Arsenal did, but that was the vital part of the game. And now that goalkeeper really has got to really do some work on himself, as well as the coaches and the goalkeeping coach, because that becomes a big problem, a massive wall that can build up if he doesn't do a lot of work mentally on that.
Yeah, well, how important is that? They spent over 200 million at one end of the pitch to still have this issue that you're all talking about at the other. It's
fine margins for a goalkeeper in that respect, you know. And but like Glenn said, that it quickly spreads both ways, you know. That commanding presence, belief, yeah, this is us, we're strong, to the other way of a little bit of unsure, who's going to come, shall I head it, is he keep coming, are we a little bit, don't give a corner away, oh, it's a long throw. All of a sudden it can spiral both ways, you know. Yeah. It's definitely something that has caused them an issue today, it's caused them an issue over a period of time now, and you need that foundation and that backbone to then spread through the back four or the back five.
Which you experienced with Edwin van der Sar, didn't you, back in the day in that team?
And that composure and that belief that the goalkeeper gives you is, as I said, it spreads, and it spreads quickly, and it can go in both directions pretty quickly. You obviously want the positive nature, and to be fair to Arsenal, they got that today.
I think that the goalkeeping problem from De Gea all the way to where we are now, obviously we've seen what's happened with Andre Onana, seen Bayern today, nowhere near it. Man United with the amount of money, like you just mentioned, and rightly as well, in the monies that they've spent, they need more goals. I think, like I said, they scored goals last season, what was relegation form. If it weren't for Bruno, I don't know where they would have been. So they've addressed that, and I think that Cunha and Mbeumo were very good today. But what's the point if your goalkeepers are going to be that bad? They need to... I don't know what's happening with Donnarumma. He weren't playing the other day. I don't know if he's coming here. I don't know if he's going... don't know where he's going, but they really do need to sort that goalkeeping situation out, because they've lost the game on that. It's very soft. It's a hard one to take, to lose it on that. Because I thought the players, especially people like De Ligt, I thought he played very well today. Cunha played well. Even Mbeumo for his debut. They played very, very well. They deserve to lose a game like that on a goalkeeper's poor technique. It's a terrible way to lose a game.
Do you think, we've no idea where the budget's up to, and they've obviously got to get players out, but that might have enforced the need before August the 31st to get somebody in, goalkeeper-wise?
I think they need a keeper. They do. And I think that will enhance that. I think the manager will sit down with his staff and think about that. They've got to shift some people out, I would imagine. But, you know, if you're going to have your spine of a team, everyone talks about having your spine and being a successful team. The great teams have always had that. You start with a goalkeeper. And if you've got a problem there after one match, you know, Onana comes back in, everyone's going to be like, well, you know, there's mistakes last year. So he's got a real problem already.
Well, let's talk live to the man who benefited from that error, following in the match winner. Ricardo Calafiori is waiting to speak to us at Old Trafford. Ricardo, great to see you. Well done. How good does that feel? Winning goal, first day of the season away at Old Trafford.
Hi guys, everybody. Yeah, obviously it was a great feeling. I couldn't start better than this. Obviously it was a tough game, but we managed to get the 3 points at the end.
And you and your Premier League goals, I mean, we saw you score at the Etihad. You now scored the winner at Old Trafford and that winner at Wolves. They're all big, important ones.
Yeah, I mean, when you score and you get the 3 points because of your goal, is even more important, as you said. And yeah, that's a good start. We just have to keep going like that.
Is that the importance here of you following in, always expecting an error?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's see game by game as well.
Is that something you'd highlighted, though? I mean, we know you're so strong from set pieces and the amount of goals you score from that area.
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking before about this. We're just working every day, every week. If possible, we have to improve every season, because the other teams, they study us and they know how to defend. So we just have to improve even more.
Ricardo, what did the manager say at half-time in how we were playing in the first half? Was he upset? Was he angry? What was he like in the dressing room?
Yeah, I wouldn't say upset, but obviously it wasn't our best game, I guess. And as well, it's not easy to play at Old Trafford. In the first minutes, they were so aggressive. But for sure, we could have done better, I think, in the manner regain, the second balls. But, you know, at the end, if you want to win the league or if you want to do something important, you cannot leave these points behind, even though you played, like, not your best game, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the positive, isn't it? When you're not at your very best, to still keep a clean sheet and